Fast fashion companies are huge. We're talking about brands you see everywhere, the ones that make millions, even billions of dollars in profit. But those profits don't come from magic. They come from cheap labor. And yes, that includes child labor. In countries like Bangladesh, India, China, and Cambodia, children are working long hours, often in unsafe conditions, making the clothes we take for granted, some as young as 5 years old. Imagine for a moment your childhood spent in a factory instead of a classroom, working with dangerous machinery, inhaling toxic fumes, getting paid almost nothing. That's the reality for millions of children across the globe, and it's a reality we've all contributed to. The demand for fast fashion drives these companies to seek the cheapest production costs, and that often means turning a blind eye to basic human rights. So why don't we see it? Why is it so easy to ignore? Well, it's simple. We're disconnected. When we click add to cart, or when we pick up that dress in the store, we're far removed from the source. The reality of where and how those clothes are made doesn't make it into our Instagram feeds. It's easy to forget that our choices have consequences when it comes to something so simple as shopping for clothes. But every choice we make matters. Think about it. The more we buy, the more we fuel this cycle. And as the demand for cheap clothes grows, so does the demand for cheap labor. That's where children, sometimes as young as 5 or 6, come in. Let's not sugarcoat it. Children working in these conditions face not only physical exhaustion, but also mental trauma. They're deprived of their childhood, stripped of their education, and exposed to dangerous chemicals. Some suffer long-term health issues, others are trafficked or fall victim to abuse. We're talking about kids who will never know what it's like to be kids. They're working instead of playing, learning, or dreaming of a future. They don't have a choice. They work because their families depend on it, because that's what the system has forced them into. And while these companies are raking in massive profits, these kids get barely enough to survive. So what can we do about it? Because the truth is, while it's easy to point fingers, it's even easier to ignore. But we have power, the power of choice. As consumers, we hold the key to change. We can demand transparency. We can push for better labor practices. We can choose to support brands that commit to ethical practices, fair wages, and safe working conditions. Sustainable fashion is a growing movement. And no, it's not just about paying $100 for a t-shirt. It's about investing in a future where the people who make our clothes are treated with dignity and where our choices as consumers align with our values. It's about asking questions. Who made this? Where did this come from? What's the real cost of this dress I'm buying? At the end of the day, we all have a choice. We can choose to turn a blind eye and continue fueling the system that exploits children. Or we can be part of the solution. We can be conscious consumers who value people over profits. We can choose compassion over convenience. Because when we know better, we can do better. So the next time you find yourself scrolling through your favorite store or picking up that bargain outfit, ask yourself, what's the real cost? Because the dark side of fast fashion is waiting to be seen. And now, it's up to us whether we do something about it. Thank you for watching.